Hello everybody, today is on sales and today is also on life. I am going to speak to you about every decision you make, including sales. I hope you listen, but this is my philosophy, my opinion, my belief. It will not work for all of you, although I believe it would if you gave it a try. Every time you face something, and in sales, this isn't the live action, this is the big pitch, this is putting forth a proposal, this is rolling the dice, this is going after something. But especially when you're making major decisions, here's what I believe. Scenarios. Run a scenario. I'm going to hopefully spell this correctly. Through your head. I want you to play scenarios. I want you to role play it through your mind. I want you to sit there and look at it. Where can this go? If I do this, what happens here? If I do this, what happens here? If I do this, what happens here? If I do this and this is the reaction, how will I react to that reaction? What's it going to mean to me? And I want you to tear this up. I want you to play these scenarios until you end up with the absolute worst case scenario. What is the worst case scenario that can happen from this action? If I go and I ask Jeannie to go on a date with me, and she says no. And I'm confident and cocky, and it wasn't that big a deal. And the worst case scenario is, I was a little embarrassed because she said no, and I did it in public. That kind of stinks. I'm a little laugh. I'll go to my friends, be rowdy and a little bit vulgar, to shake it off and feel manly again, and I'll be okay. That's my worst case scenario. My best case scenario, I'm getting ahead of myself here, is she says yes. Woohoo, that's what I want. Now, can I live with the worst case scenario? In this instance, me being me, that being the situation, that's our worst case scenario, the answer would be yes. Thus you go and you ask Jenny out. Now, I might be some other guy. I might be real insecure. I've been abused. It's a hard little heart. I'm thinking so ashamed. I'm being forced to do this. If I ask Jenny to go out with me and Jenny says no, people will laugh at me. Susie Dinkins, who has always wanted to mock me, will continue to mock me. I will get the nickname loser who can't get a date, jerk of lifetime. In 6 months, I've been driven into such deep depression, but I'm too young and ashamed to admit it to my parents, so I don't get medication, so I'm going to commit suicide. So the worst case scenario of asking Jenny out is I kill myself. Can I live with that? If the best case scenario, she says yes, and that is so amazing, sunshine lollipops, that the reward is equal to the risk, I probably will. The reality is, well, as you're going through your head, you got to be an idiot, and no girls are that great at date, and I think you would be absolutely right. That's the worst case scenario I wouldn't do. At the same time, hopefully your worst case scenario being told no for a date is not suicide in 6 months. But I'm trying to use a humorous, huge metaphor to get the point across. What is your worst case scenario? What is your best? How do these pan out? If I take worst case scenario action and I get the best, phenomenal. Can I live with this? A businessman getting ready to invest in expansion. And he looks at it and says, worst case scenario, this fails. It is such a drain on my cash flow. Even if I shut it down, I don't personally guarantee anything, and I have no other obligation, the money I borrowed and I sucked out to do it, I still got to pay off that debt, will be greater than my current company can handle, and it will eventually drain us into the hole. See the joke of the metaphor of the suicide thing, by the way? But if it takes, we'll have tripled our income, we'll have expanded, and we'll have become so strong we can't be stopped. Does he take the risk? It's a huge risk. It's a huge risk. If it's truly that phenomenal a best case, maybe you do. Hopefully you try to change your scenarios to where your worst case doesn't have to kill you. It may at times be, this is the worst. Okay, if I change the scenario, if I change how much I'm investing, I can lower it to this level. to where it's going to hurt us for 5 years, but eventually we'll come out of it. Now, my best is no longer I'm set for life. My best is we're doing really good, but in 3 years, if it works, we're going to have to gamble again and go up here again. But I want this best case scenario, but I cannot live with this worst. Realizing they shift each other, but I can live with this worst. That might not be what I really wanted, but it ain't too bad. To go with the joke one, really wanted to go on a date with Jenny, but Julie wasn't half bad. And Julie won't humiliate me in front of all of her friends. So I'll just be depressed for a few months, and then I'll be fine. So you ask Julie out and you let Jenny go. That's the scenario on this. You got to keep playing the scenarios till you can live with this, because here is the rule I live by. Expect the worst. I know that shifts from everything I tell you. I know it shifts from all the goal setting I say and controlling your psychology and everything else. And the funny thing is, even though I just told you black is white and white is black, it all holds. You have to have the end in mind. You have to have the goal. You have to go there. But when you step out, when you make that investment, when you ask that girl on the date, you have to assume it's going to go bad. You have to assume she's going to go no. You have to assume you're going to end here. Everything else is benefit. Everything else is benefit. When I take out the loan to do the expansion, and that worst is going to hurt, and it's going to be horrible. And it's going to be, I don't get to do things I want. The kids don't get to go to the private school, but I can survive it. It'll take 5 years to pay it off, and then we can drop back and try again with whatever way we go. But I can survive it. I assume that is going to be the reality. I make my plan accordingly. Now, once I step out, that's done. Anything better than that is good. But I'm not looking one notch beyond. I'm not looking there. It's not where I want to go. It is what I assumed would happen when I made the decision. But I'm focused on this. And you want to know something funny? Even though I knew this is as good as I get with investment, I'm not even focused here. I'm focused on this. This is what I'm chasing. This is what I'm going after. But if this ends up being it, don't get me wrong, I'm going to cry. Remember, worst case scenarios are going to go in 3-month depression if Julie said no. But it won't cripple me. It won't kill me. It won't shock me. I won't give up, be crushed, fall down, metaphorically, whatever. I'm going to make it through. Because that's the worst, probably what's going to happen. Now let's go dance. Let's go play. Lined up to play the best team in the league. I got 2 options. I can play the cool kid thing, and yeah, we don't really care. We didn't really take it seriously. Guaranteeing I'm going to lose, but at least I think saving face. I look at it and go, I'm going to give all I have. Worst case scenarios, I'm going to be mocked. I'm going to be made fun of. I'm going to get beat. I'm possibly going to break a couple of bones, and I'm going to lay there and cry when it's over, and nobody's going to understand why, and only I do because I left everything out there. And they're going to say, man, you really stink. You gave it all that. You got whooped that bad. You are terrible. Can I live with that? And the answer, at least in my case, would be yes. Now, I'm not going to go out there with the goal of breaking bones and laying down and crying at the end. I just know I can live with it. That's what's going to happen. It's done. Taking ownership of that. I've crushed it because I can handle it, and I've thrown it aside. Now I'm truly going to give my all, because the best is I was the underdog that crushed the superstar. Ah, that's nice. That's nice. That's what I'm shooting for. That's what I'm going after. It is a weird dichotomy, people. It is night and day, both being true at the same time. It is the other side of the coin. It is heads as tails and tails as heads. I don't want to get too lost, because I don't want you to so focus here you get foolish about the reality of where you got to be with goals. But I also don't want to give up. Expect the worst. Can you live with it? If you can, take it. Swallow it, chew it, own it, Stomp it under your heel. It cannot, you've got that. Everything else is gravy. I'm amazed how many people I know that do not run this scenario, that have the positive look, that even make a wise shot. Everything is set up, and they didn't go for this. They went for this, and it should have worked. And it really kind of did. I mean, it went great. They ended up right here. I mean, if this is the worst peg and this is the best, and they ended up here, that are crushed. Crushed. Because all they did was think about this. There was no gravy. It was all sawdust. No, it wasn't. You just didn't play the scenarios right. I find this of huge value to me in life. I find this of huge value with goal setting, with planning, with expectations, with being able to handle the hardships that come. Because like it or not, and this is one of the areas, and I'm a huge fan of motivational speakers. I am. I think they matter. I think feeding yourself that positive and that, you got to have it, and you can't ever stop. You got to have it. One of the flaws with them is and it's the nature of the beast. I'm not running by down. No, not at all. It's the nature of the beast. But the nature of the beast is it forgets to point out, I don't care how positive you are, how great your energy is, how much you believe in tomorrow, how well you tie into the secret or anything else, bad things happen. Hard times come. Winter is going to be one of the 4 seasons. You cannot stop it. So how have you prepped yourself to be able to handle the winters of life? How have you prepped yourself to handle the unexpected crush? Does it devastate you when you should have been proud of what you achieved? Or do you sit there going, man, worst case stinks, and actually ended up worst case? But I've already chewed that, I've already swallowed it, I've already spit it out, I've already stubbed it on my heel, however you want to look at it. Be ready for winter. And here, not just here, but both. God bless you guys. Appreciate you very much. Have a great day.